Galloping Gabe, Race for the Roses. Once upon a time, in a small, cozy stable near Churchill Downs, there lived a young racehorse named Galloping Gabe. Gabe had a gleaming chestnut coat and a fiery spirit. The other horses in the stable whispered among themselves that Gabe was destined for greatness. But as the Kentucky Derby approached, a terrible storm rolled in, leaving everyone on edge. Gabe's owners, twins Cale and Maribel, visited him every day after school. They brushed his coat until it shone, whispered sweet words of encouragement, and fed him the freshest hay they could find. Gabe loved his human friends and couldn't wait to race for them. One day, as the twins were preparing to leave the stable, they overheard a mysterious conversation. "We have to beat Galloping Gabe," a shadowy figure hissed. "Do whatever it takes." The twins exchanged worried glances, and a plan started to form in their minds. The next morning, Cale and Maribel came to the stable earlier than usual. They spent hours training Gabe, helping him build up his speed and endurance. The more they practiced, the more confident they all became. Gabe's hooves seemed to fly over the ground, and the wind whispered encouragement in his ears. But as the big day drew closer, Gabe noticed that something strange was happening. His main rival, a tall, sleek horse named Thunderbolt, seemed to be getting faster and faster. Was it just a trick of the light? Or was there something more to it? "I don't know, Cale," Maribel murmured one evening as they watched Thunderbolt's owner, Mr. Riggs, lead his horse away. "I've got a bad feeling about this. It's almost like Thunderbolt is cheating." Cale nodded, his brow furrowed with concern. "We'll just have to keep an eye on them. No matter what happens, we have to believe in Gabe. He's the fastest horse around, and we know he can win." Finally, the day of the Kentucky Derby arrived. The air was electric with excitement, and the stands were packed with eager spectators. As Cale and Maribel led Gabe onto the track, they couldn't help but notice that Thunderbolt was looking particularly smug. Gabe snorted, tossing his mane, and the twins gave him an encouraging pat. The race began with a deafening roar from the crowd. Gabe leapt forward, his hooves pounding the ground in perfect rhythm. Thunderbolt was right beside him, their strides matching, as they galloped around the track. The other horses seemed to fade into the background as Gabe and Thunderbolt dueled for the lead. As they rounded the final bend, Gabe felt his energy starting to flag. Thunderbolt was still right beside him, and he knew he needed to dig deep if he wanted to win. Just then, he heard Cale and Maribel's voices calling out from the sidelines. "Come on, Gabe! You can do it!" they cheered, their faces glowing with pride and love. Gabe felt a surge of determination and knew that he couldn't let his friends down. With a final burst of speed, he pulled ahead of Thunderbolt and crossed the finish line first, the cheers of the crowd ringing in his ears. Thunderbolt, defeated and exhausted, could only watch as Galloping Gabe was draped with the blanket of roses, a symbol of victory. And as Cale and Maribel hugged their champion horse, they knew that they had won not only the race but also the true spirit of friendship and determination that had brought them all together. The end.